105.1 The GOAT and New Radio Sports Network. Tim Coles joining you with head coach Mike Peck from the Gibraltar Vikings after the Vikings 38-0 losers in this one to the Pioneers. And coach, at the end of the day, you have to call this one early just because 8-player football, and as you mentioned, you only had 10 or 12 healthy guys that you could put out there.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the decision was the health of my kids and keeping kids healthy for the rest of the season so we can continue to play games. And we sustained a few injuries in the first half that we think with a week of rest they'll be okay and we'll be able to compete again next Friday. But we were just worried about sustaining one or two more injuries that might have jeopardized the whole season.
What was your message to your team after the decision was made?
The real message was, it's heartfelt. We feel bad for the seniors. This is our last chance to play our biggest rival, and we got to call the game early. But ultimately, they got homecoming. Like we talked about homecoming. Our kids build the bonfire, and so we were talking about how they're going to do that this weekend. And we turned the page. We talked about how it was a tough decision, and we kind of actually talked a little bit about a pregame that we knew there was some things that had to fall our way, or we might have to make this decision, and so they kind of knew that it was on the table. But ultimately, they got a bonfire to build and a lot of work to do so that the school could enjoy homecoming. So we kind of turned the page and talked about doing that this weekend, but making sure the kids that were maybe injured forego that activity and make sure they're resting and getting healthy for next week.
And you kind of mentioned that too, right? It's not just, hey, it stinks that you couldn't play against your chief rival, but missing one game or missing a half of one game is a lot better than missing 2 or 3 full games then off your season, especially if you're a senior.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have, sustained, 1 or 2 serious injuries there in the second half of the 8 kids that are going to play, we would risk losing next week and the week after, possibly, like you said, the last 3 games. And we made the decision that we thought was in the best interest of our team, where we had some injuries that were borderline that kids might have been able to continue with, but we thought it was in the best interest to just be done and let them get some rest so they're ready for next week.
Well, Coach, let's rest up and have a happy homecoming next week.
Sounds good, Tim. Thank you.
You've been watching 105.1 The GOAT and the New Radio Sports Network.